Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Agents of Change Mastermind. It's Monday, June 5th, and I'm excited to be here with you. I think that today is going to be a great day. It's the launch of the week. For those of you that are here with us live, you're in this moment of preparation for the week ahead. For those of you that are watching this on replay, I hope you're getting to it pretty quickly in the beginning of the week, because this is going to be the information today that we're going to go over. I'm going to teach you about our recruiting system, how we develop new associates into leaders. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the components of our system here so that you understand how to plug in and why plugging in is so important. And I'm going to go through a few things for you. You can take shots of the screen if you'd like. Then we're going to hear from some of the other leaders here in the mastermind that are building their businesses. We have some of the most respected leaders anywhere, and we'll hear from them as well. But as we get started today, I'm going to share my screen. I just want to say, first of all, the month of May, because here we are, it's June now. The month of May was the kickoff of a 90-day run. We had a great experience as a group with that 90-day run. And essentially what happened was we got organized. That's the number one thing we did, was got real organized and focused. Then we tracked exposures for the month. Thousands and thousands of exposures that came in. And an exposure simply means that you got the information in front of somebody so they could learn about our services, they could learn about our opportunity. And we champion that, we celebrate that, because it's the beginning of a process, which I'm going to show you today. It's the beginning of a process that leads to your success, that leads to people finding these services valuable for their own family and signing up. Business owners protecting their business, protecting their employees, people having peace of mind. And also, it's a way for people to discover an opportunity to earn extra income, whether that's a spare time, part-time pursuit of additional income streams, which can be really profound for people. Because what that does is it allows folks to make different choices in their lives. Somebody creating a new secondary stream of income might want to refill their retirement accounts, and now they have a way to do that. They might want to save for something in the future, like college or a wedding for one of their children or grandchildren. It could mean for some families the difference between both or only one parent working outside of the home. So there's so many options that arise and reveal themselves when people have new income streams. And then we have people that are making this their career, like I have and so many others have. Whether you work this business, a set amount of hours a week. Some people think, well, if I'm full-time, that means I'm 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours. I can tell you, I've never worked my legal show business like that, but I certainly didn't want to work for anybody else. I wanted to own and run a successful legal show business once I understood what that would mean to me and my family. And that's what I set out to do. And so since it's been about 19 years now since I started this business and never had to work for anybody else, this became my career. For many of you, that's your goal, or that's what you're doing as well. And when we reveal the opportunity, we reveal that choice to people. All of a sudden, they see an opportunity to earn the same money they're already making somewhere else without having to leave the home, without having to have someone else in control of their schedule, without having to be micromanaged by other people, and maybe in addition to that, they see an opportunity to earn more income, maybe for the first time to have uncapped income. And for the majority of people that discover our opportunity, a chance for them to learn about residual income. And residual income is powerful and impactful as a component of your wealth. And it really is one of the main drivers of wealth, is this ability to do something one time and then get paid on it again and again. So I think that's, as we celebrate the month of May and we look forward into the month of June, I just wanted to give us a real good, solid conversation structured around our recruiting and development system. Recruiting so that we can bring new people onto your team, and development so that those people can know how to win. And so let's get into this. And there's a document for this in the Agents of Change.team resources page. You'll see a brand new resources page. Somebody will put that in the chat. It's Agents of Change.team. Well, let's take a look at this information together. So here is the process. It's exposure, follow-up, three-way call, and the sign-up experience where somebody goes to your website and gets signed up. And often you'll see in the company this presented to you as a baseball diamond. I think that's probably the most common way we communicate these steps. But today, instead of presenting it as a baseball diamond to you, I'm sharing it with you in this linear fashion from left to right, because obviously in the Western world, that's how our brains think of a process, is from left to right. And so I wanted to go through it with you from this left to right experience. So let's talk about this. So the first thing is, and you can read it along on the screen, I'm just going to add some context to it. It's the exposure process. Now, as I said, exposure is simply the act of getting somebody the information so they can learn about our services. And really today I'm talking about recruiting especially, because here in our mastermind, our focus is how to build a six-figure income, at least on an annual six-figure income. So I want to talk about how to do that through leverage, which is to build a team of people that are actually, they're winning, they're producing, they're having success in their business, which is a part of your business. So as you can see on the screen, we want to use the tools that the company provides for duplication. That tool is called Prospect by PPLSI. And while the company also gives us a website, they give us several websites where you could just direct somebody to a URL. When you use the Prospect system, the mobile app or the desktop, and I'm just going to talk about the mobile app, my phone's here. I mean, I run this whole business from my phone because of Prospect by PPLSI. I can put a prospect into that app in my phone, and then I can share with them an overview video. And the great thing about this technology that we have is the app will notify me when the person I sent that video to clicks on the link, and it will record this in the history on their profile in the app. So now I know that the person clicked on the link. I'll just slow this down for a second. For some of you watching, because this is the mastermind, some of you've been with me for a while, or you just got here recently, but you are a serious business owner. You only want to talk about big money, and all of this makes sense to you. So I just want to make sure that we also say what we're talking about here is making sure that we have tools and activities and interactions with every member of our team that make sense. So for your newest member of your team, just that one piece of feedback, the fact that they can text their friend this business overview video, and that on their own phone, so on your associate's phone, they get a notification that says their friend clicked the link. That is part of a positive feedback loop, and it matters. Okay, so that's not just it's not just a convenience. It's part of the psychology of getting somebody excited about doing the activity that will allow them to win. Because if they do that activity in an environment where they're rewarded, even the small things like someone clicking on a link, they get a reward there, they get a notification that happens, it's going to encourage most associates to keep doing that thing they're getting positive results from. So the first positive result is the person clicks the link. The next positive result is that when the person starts watching the video, I'm notified about that as well. Now, again, this is interesting. I'll give you a little historical perspective. So when I got started in this business, and I'm going to go quickly through the rest of these, but I just want you to know, when I got started in this business, an exposure was done with a VHS tape or an audio cassette. That's how we did it. So I had a VHS tape. I would play it for somebody. I had one of these tapes. So I didn't give it to somebody and hope I'd get it back, because I couldn't. That's just not how the business worked. I would take the tape to somebody and play it for them, or they would come over to me and I'd play it for them. And here's the magic of that. I knew they watched it. So I didn't ever wonder if they watched it. When we moved into a space, not maybe a year or two after I got started, where we moved to CDs, and CDs were cheap, these audio CDs, and then they became DVDs as well. And we would buy them by boxes of 100. So they were still a physical medium, but the expense went so far down that you'd buy 100 of them at a time. And then you'd put your contact information on the outside of the disc, and you'd hand them out to people, and then you'd follow up. And what you found out, I'm going to talk about follow up in a second, but you would have to follow up with people to get them to listen to it, to get them to watch it. But at least you had a list of people that you had sent this information to, and you were trying to find out if they watched it. When we went to websites over the last handful of years, before we had this prospect app, we went into this world where we just didn't really know what was going on. And a whole group of us started to assume that everybody we sent a link to watched the video and weren't interested. That was the narrative we told ourselves as associates. We said, well, I sent them the link. They probably watched it and they weren't interested. And that's why they didn't call me back. And that's why I can't get them back on the phone. But once you start using tools like prospecting, you get this feedback. What you realize is that you do know when people are watching it or not. And sometimes you find out it reveals itself very quickly that people just aren't watching the video, even though they said they would, which is a great opportunity for us to teach our associates about follow-up. So I'm going to get to follow-up here in a second, but so the exposure process is inviting somebody to take a look. And if you use the prospect app, now you're going to be organized because you're going to have all of your prospects, your potential new associates, all in one place in your phones, which means you're not bolted to your home office like so many of us were for so many years. You can do this from anywhere. And with the prospect app, it's just opening up a whole new world for me. I think it is for you as well, where it's, you know, like when just on Friday afternoon, when my daughter was at this event we had at the school where all the kids got to play on the playground after school together, you know, somebody could be sending me a message, hey, I'm ready to take a look at the information. I send it back to them. I could do all that in a slice of time. It takes 10 seconds. I don't have to go home and do it. It's just super powerful. I can see if somebody watched the video, it's super powerful. So that's why you want to use the Prospect app. And if you have a brand new associate on your team and they don't have the app on their phone yet, it's no big deal. You know, we have websites. Maybe mobile apps isn't their thing. I know there's still a percentage of people that's really not their thing. But generally speaking, having this app at the center of your business and then duplicating that in your team is going to pay off. That's a windfall for you because everybody will be on the same page. So we get people to put their prospects in the app, to send them resources like the brand new Liz LeCue and Darnell Self overview, 19 minutes. It closes with the $49 associate fee, which we currently have. So all of the information is perfectly accurate and it's a great presentation. It's got testimonials in it. It's great. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you watch it. That's what I recommend you send out to people. And then following up is you follow up with them. And if they don't watch the video, you know, you texted it to them, you can see that they didn't watch it. You're following up to encourage them to watch it. And sometimes they did watch it, or it shows that they played it, but you might find out that they didn't really pay that close attention to it. When you follow up with a person, you're going to have an opportunity to find out what they like best about it. And then the great thing about that follow-up process is if they didn't watch it yet, they're going to reprioritize that up higher for you. Like if I said to somebody I was going to watch their video and I didn't get to it, even though I meant to, and they follow up with me, I'm going to reprioritize that higher because I feel like I let them down. And that's about the way it is for most people. So follow-up just gets, you can think of follow-up as moving it up. Because people have a list of things that matter to them, like their job and their kids and their house, and they have this big group of responsibilities. And then you bring in this opportunity for them to watch a video and learn something, and it's somewhere in that list, but it's never at the top of the list. It's not going to go in front of their kids and their spouse and their obligations, but it can move up. It could get up ahead of emptying the dishwasher. It could get ahead of making the bed. It could get ahead of folding the clothes because you followed up. And that's what follow-up does for you. So again, this document is in there. And as you'll see, when you follow up with somebody and you've determined that they've watched the video, that's the best time to do a three-way call with them. And as it says right in the document, I am happy to do these. You should have lots of people you can have for three-way calls, but you've got me. You've got other leaders. Core commitment of the 10 core commitments, core commitment number 9 is to have a workout partner. Have a mastermind. That's one of the reasons to have this group of people come together once a week, the most serious, the most focused, the most devoted on earning their six-figure rings, becoming millionaire club members, is so you can see each other, know each other better, and then start to rely on each other for things like three-way calls. Because of course I'm willing to do them. I'd love to do them all day, but I can't be the bottleneck in your business either. So you want to have other people that are available to do them. And three-way calls, there's a great training in the Prospect app on how to do a three-way call. If the prospect's ready to get started during the three-way call, I'm just going to speak for myself, then I'm going to direct them to your website to sign up. If they still have questions or they want more information, which is sometimes kind of where it is, they're excited, but they're not really ready to commit. They're not really ready to put their credit card information in yet. Then I'll invite them to our Monday evening business overview. And if it's not, if for example, I'm talking to them on Tuesday, we don't want to wait 6 days for something like that. I might invite them to watch the replay of the most recent business overview, which we have usually up within a few hours. And so I just want you to understand kind of that cadence, right? Exposure, follow up, get that person on a three-way call so they can get their questions answered. The other reason you want three-way calls as part of the culture of your team building is you might not need someone to do a three-way call for you as a leader to answer that prospect's questions and then walk them through signing up. I'll bet a whole bunch of you watching this don't need that. You don't need that to make it happen. But remember, there's a danger in doing something that works just for you versus something that duplicates. If you do three-way calls as part of your process and create a culture of three-way calls, then what happens is your new associates who definitely should not be trying to answer questions for their prospects or are uncomfortable with the sign-up process because they're new and they don't really know what the website flow is or anything like that. They shouldn't be the ones walking their prospects through signing up. But since you're doing three-way calls, you make that part of your culture, guess what? That will permeate through and duplicate through your business. And then everybody will be doing three-way calls. And then you'll always have experts involved in that process of new people getting signed up. And then I just have one more thought about that, which is this process of signing up. Once they're signed up as a new associate, this is where we can often see this sign up step as the finish line, right? Because look at the screen. You did an exposure and then you followed up with it maybe more than once. Then you got them on a three-way call with somebody else. And maybe you had them watch more information before they sign up. And then they sign up. And for you and I, it's like, okay, yes, completed, finished. But remember, for the person that signed up, they are not really cognizant of the steps you took. They're not aware of what you're looking at on your screen right now. To them, that is the beginning of something. And so we can't treat it like the end of something, even though for us, sometimes it does feel like that. We have to treat it like the beginning of something and move them immediately into what they should be doing first, because that's their expectation. They've now signed up. They're saying, I'm ready to go. So what does it mean to be ready to go? And I'll just go through this real quick. This is the getting new associates started process, very similar to a recruiting process. But now we're going to educate this new person while their excitement is at its highest when they're brand new, and their belief in themselves is probably at their lowest. We know that their knowledge of the business is at its lowest. So they're excited about what's ahead of them, new possibility, opportunity. But then over here, their brain's going to start telling them they don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do this. You've never done this before. You have to move quickly. We all have to move quickly to bottle their enthusiasm and direct it into a positive place. And so the way we do that is we get them into first step training. First step training is a series of videos that lives 24/7 on the First Step Training website, pplsifirststep.com. The ideal way to get them that information is to have them download the Prospect app onto their phone and to sign in with their credentials, their login and password that they created to become an associate. Because then as soon as the app pops up on their screen, it will walk them through those same videos in the app. So see how you're reinforcing the app right from the beginning? But here's what happens. Sometimes it's the weekend and there might be a clerical thing where their associate agreement didn't process yet, or they're struggling to download the app to their phone, or they can't remember their username or password. Whatever that is, we never want any of those things to cause a delay, because remember, their enthusiasm is here, and it can only go down. Their knowledge is here. We want to get it up, okay? So that's why we have the First Step Training website also. Because if there's anything that would prevent them from getting right into those videos through the mobile app, fine. Just take them right to the website and don't delay. So we'll get them the First Step Training. In the First Step Training, it discusses Fast Start. Don Thompson walks them through what Fast Start training is, what getting Fast Start qualified means. So he's going to walk them through that in his video in the First Step Training. And there's even documentation there on how to register for the Fast Start class. Now, I would suggest to you that you assist your new prospect or your new associate in getting Fast Start qualified. I'm sorry, let me start that over. I would suggest that you assist your new associate in getting registered for the Fast Start class, not send them out to the calendar to pick one on their own and that kind of a thing. It will feel it will feel less confusing if you just walk them through that. And in our team website under resources, there is a document on how to register for Fast Start with screenshots. I created that for you as a leader, not to send to a new associate, because that was never the point. The point was for you as a leader to say, okay, these are the screens that I'm going to see when I'm walking somebody through how to get registered for a Fast Start class. Then we have the weekly mastermind, which you and I are doing right now. Everybody's invited. It's for people that want to make at least $100,000 a year. You don't have to be at any specific level in the compensation plan, but you do have to be focused on building a big business. Not everybody is, especially in the beginning. And so that's why we're only going to talk about the big stuff here in this mastermind environment. But then we also, every Monday evening at 9:00 p.m. Eastern, all associates are welcome for our business overview and getting started training event. So in 1 hour, we do a business overview. It takes about 30 to 35 minutes. I do a 5-minute break to let people go get signed up, because you can bring your guests. We're bringing guests onto this, and those guests are signing up during the break. And then we come back from the break, and I do a quick getting started training where I tell a little bit of my story, talk a little bit about best practices for getting your business started correctly, and of course, direct them right into what you're seeing on the left side of your screen, first step training. So if your new associate is joining during this Monday night live business overview, they're getting directly from me after a 5-minute break, hey, this is what you do. This is first step training. This is how you get into it. So again, you see, we're doing something that duplicates, because I know that you could walk your new associates through all of this, but can somebody 10 levels below you in your team do the same thing? We want to make sure this is highly duplicatable. And then also on Wednesdays, we have a circle up. Now, this is currently scheduled at 11:15 a.m. Eastern. I recognize that an event like this, where it's for the entire team, it's kind of an all hands situation, every associate is invited, that the attendance will be higher in a space like this in an evening time. And I'm looking at what is going to be best for that in the future. But here for the summer, we're going to continue doing it during the daytime. And then we're going to record it, of course, and then we'll make the archives available at agentsofchange.team. So that is our process for onboarding new associates, showing them the business, following up with them, getting them set up. That's also our process for getting new people started. I'm going to unshare. I think I've done that correctly. And then I'm going to turn it over to some of our other team members that may want to add to what was said here. Perhaps they some other things folks want to talk about. So I'm going to open it up to you. And I'm going to just start, because sometimes people don't know where to start. I'm going to start with John Fehrenbach. John, I'm going to put you on the spot. And I don't know if you somewhere where you can have your camera on or not, but you had an incredible recruiting month in the month of May. We'd love to hear your thoughts about anything, including what I just went over, or anything else you think would be beneficial to the group.
Yeah, I think at the end of last month, the one thing I talked about was not focusing on a 30-day time period, but just consistency in what we do every day, and following this system that we have and being consistent in that system is I think is paramount to having a successful business. And just having things like the snowball effect, right? Coming down the mountain, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. When it runs out of snow, it stops getting bigger. So we want to keep snow under there, and through continual prospecting, doing our two exposures a day, and staying on that. I think that is that's important. Certainly what drives me. So thanks, Jim.
Thank you very much. Yvette Eldridge, would you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, thank you, Mr. Tanner. I'd like to piggyback off of what John said. Because the system is duplicatable, we've made it so that we've taken out that fear factor. You don't have to know everything in order to be able to show people how to move along the continuum. And because of that, you have people behind you that are supporting you, and we're here to help you. And it's that whole team effort that helps make everyone feel good about what they're doing and also become successful.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I think when you have something, and I work off of visuals much better. That's why I have to lay something out visually, like what I showed you all. But when you know where your prospect or associate is in a process that's that clearly defined, then you always know what to do. Because one thing again, whether it's a prospect or an associate, one thing that does work best is only do and say and behave in a way that gets them from the step they're on to the next step. And so sometimes if we don't have a clearly defined, articulated process, we jump the steps is what happens. And we start saying, like if I have a brand new person, I'm inviting them to take a look at information and they say, well, what is it? And I'm new and I don't know any better. I start thinking about explaining instead of getting out of that, what is it, and getting them into watching the video, right? So that's what new people do all the time is they start having a conversation, a thumbnail sketch of Legal Shield, ID Shield, the opportunity, the company, instead of spending that energy getting the person to watch the video. And so I love it. But thanks to both of you. Let's see, I don't see anybody else unmuted, but you can raise your hand or unmute or somehow signal that you'd like to. James Paris, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'd like to share something. Just recently, we've moved a few months ago, and I ran across some goals I had written down a little bit more than a year ago, probably 2 years ago. And it was interesting on, even though I hadn't looked at them in a long time, how many of them I actually hit. And I think that's important, especially for new people. You had mentioned the psychology of the whole business, you know, when you started talking earlier. And I think a lot of people, they don't realize how important that part is. At least I didn't. And I think that's, you know, that's something that's very important to focus on. And writing goals, I mean, you've got to have something to aim for. So if you haven't written goals, I think Brian Tracy and Jim Rohn both have some great material on that. You can go to YouTube and just type in either one of their names and hit goals and then search that. And they've got some good videos out there that you can watch. But I think it's really important to have that thing to aim for, to be able to aim at something in order to hit it. And I think what happens is it goes into your subconscious and you just kind of start going towards those things, not even realizing that you are doing it. But I just kind of, you know, want to mention that to the new people, that if you haven't been someone that has written goals and done that before, it's incredible when you do that and the things that you can achieve from that. So I just wanted to share that with people.
Thank you very much, James. Appreciate that. And I'm going to keep looking for anybody else to unmute. But another thing I'll suggest is, you know, once you have a system, you have to protect it, and especially if it's simple. So when you have a simple system, you have to protect it even more diligently, because in its simplicity, people will start to imagine gaps or missing components, and then they'll just add those in. And so one of our jobs as leaders, we want to have a six-figure a year business. You want to have a Millionaires Club business. You have to have a simple system, and then you protect it. And protecting it means letting people know when they're not on the system, or addressing it ahead of time and saying, listen, this is so simple, you're going to think something's missing. I promise there isn't. And then redirecting all of those energies, those entrepreneurial juices that they have where they want to change the system, and redirecting that to them being more creative about how they build their list of people that they're going to put through the system that doesn't need to be changed. Sonora Danzler, go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Great morning. So I absolutely 100% agree. Systems are definitely key. You got to have some sort of a duplicatable system, not, you know, just necessarily for our new people, even for our old people. Hello. So when we have that system, when it's duplicatable, when it's simple to do, and we can follow it, you definitely see success in your business. And just like, and I'm diddling on a little bit of what everyone just said here, but when you start to do that system and you get rewarded, like Jim just mentioned in regards to the Prospect Act, it does exactly that. It makes a person feel all warm and fuzzy because they're like, okay, I did some sort of activity and I'm seeing some sort of some sort of result from it. And it's very exciting because they're getting that little bit. So I could use the analogy as, you know, you guys know that I run, but you know, you can't just go and jump on the track, get in the start blocks and then go ahead and do a 400 meter. You got to prepare for it, but you got to do a little bit at a time. And then you're going to gradually start seeing results from the work that you're doing. So with our Prospect app, with the system that we have right here to share with our new people, they will see little bits of results which Intel is going to get them all warm and fuzzy. They're going to be excited. They're going to reach out to you and say, hey, this happened. And you want to definitely celebrate them in whatever it is that they're doing, because every single one of those little bitty things are actual big things. So that's all that I wanted to share, and I'll turn it back to you guys. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And Connie, take it away.
Hey guys, I'm glad I could get on today. I remembered this 11:15 is a little awkward, but just the systems are key, and I will raise both hands and feet when I don't follow the system. I'm one of those that tried for years to do it my way. Obviously didn't work because I'm still stuck at director. And I did it all by myself. So don't do it that way. Follow the systems. Getting better at 3 ways. Definitely recruiting was never my strong suit. I'm a networker. I love networking. But, bringing on some recruits this last month, it's exciting. It's momentum. But for me, for organization, I have to be organized. I'm an OCD. It's planning Sunday. So yesterday I sat down and planned out this whole week, and actually a following week as well. Blocking those times out, because now it's not as bad. When I had a busy child and was all over the place with her dance, if I didn't stay organized and planned on Sunday how I was going to prospect and where I was going to go and get those 2 a day, I could easily see where my business fell off. I could see where I fell off PC many times. And that is from just not being duplicatable, like getting out and doing those 2 a day, using prospect. By the way, I am having huge results with the new video with Liz and Darnell. I had 13 people watch it yesterday from my leads that I'm doing. So that video is fantastic. And it's short, and I love that. So it's just plan out your week, plan out your day, so that you time block. And now it's like, it's not an option. When I have my Zumba class, nothing's getting in that time frame. This is my prospecting time. This is my networking time. And now I'm doing, since I've been back, 4 to 5 one-to-ones, because I'm loving the in-person. And this week I have 5 networking events. So just if you can get organized and figure out where your lane is, you're just gonna see. I can't. The referrals are coming in like this weekend. I couldn't even figure out who was saying yes to a video and what referral wanted me to call them. So it's exciting, but it's that system, making sure I'm zipping it and sending some information, because that's hard for me. But thank you for sharing, and excited about this team and getting together again soon.
Thank you,
Inviting
Connie.
to Darnell. I had been prospecting into Connecticut because I want guests there. So
Yes.
that's where I've been focusing for this next couple weeks. So
I think that's perfect. I just wanted to add that Connie spends her time. You explain this if I do it wrong, but between Maine in the warm weather, and is it the Carolinas as well?
Florida and Carolinas. Yeah.
So when we're talking about a business that you can wrap around your life, this is a business that rolls with her in her back pocket because of the technology today. And so that's another thing we want to make sure we keep duplicating is that seamless way people can take their business with them. Because in my career in this business, people would often set their business down because their lives got busy or tumultuous, or they had to go somewhere, whether it was on vacation or whatever it was. People that were working, they had these work trips and stuff, and it would affect the business. But now we're not seeing that, because the business isn't just a home business. It's a business that rides on your phone, and nobody leaves their house without their phone. So thanks for that. Laura Tuma, I think you had your hand up too, right, Laura? Are you there? You are muted, Laura. Let me see if I can help you with that.
Oh, hi there.
There you go.
Trying to figure these buttons out. It's, like you explained, this trying to make the fill out schedule, plan it out, and execute. And the new ones, they're basically like fresh blood, and you just have to guide them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
And as we wrap up, because we're basically out of time here, I'll just leave you with a couple of thoughts. Thought number one is right after what Laura just said. So I wasn't going to say this, but I'll say this: if you've been with us for a few weeks, a few months, a few years, a few decades, doesn't matter. You can reinvent yourself as a team leader every single time you recruit a new person. Every exposure you do is based on all your experiences. So exposure number one, yeah, you're shaky, right? But as you go on and you've done this for a little while, and as you're adjusting things and you're figuring out the language and the words that you use that make sense for you to communicate and invite people to see information and how you follow up, as you continue to get better at that over the process of doing it, you get to be a new version of you for every one of your associates. So embrace that fresh start that you get, that clean slate every single time, because nobody knows what you did or didn't do, what you wanted to do that didn't happen as fast as you thought it was. None of that is baggage that has to be taken forward. You can just let it all go, give yourself permission to restart, especially if, guys, it's almost like we're all kind of admitting we've complicated this to some of us to a degree further than others, but it's been complicated by many of us. And we get a new day to do it the way that it works the simplest and that it will duplicate for the most people. And that's my second thought. So first thought is just be the new you, start today. But I want to leave you with this. What is the formula that we are executing these behaviors, these disciplines to achieve? The formula is to get a large group of people to do a few simple things consistently over a long period of time, to get a large group of people to do a few things, simple things consistently over a long period of time. And so that is why we need things that duplicate, not just things that work for one or a few of us. That's why we need a system where we can let someone else do the presentation, Liz LeCue and Darnell Self at the moment, where we can let somebody else answer the questions, the other experts that you're bringing in, where we can let somebody else do the training, our first step training videos that our group of leaders painstakingly recorded for us. And then the Fast Start class that our leaders take time out of their own lives and their own businesses every day to step into a Zoom classroom and teach that so that our new people can learn, and all the other opportunities we have to share with people this community of entrepreneurs that are rising together. Thanks so much to everybody for joining me for the Mastermind today. Remember, tonight, 9:00 p.m. Eastern is our business overview, followed immediately by a getting started training. And we're going to do that live. I'm going to bring all the fire and energy. We're excited to have you there with us. We'll see you tonight at 9:00 p.m. Eastern. Good day.
Thanks, Jim.